This is Zagatech FX. All right, today we're going to talk about trend lines. In my former lectures, we've covered a little bit about forex. The support and resistance, and the support turns resistance, resistance turns to support, and so many other things. All right. We no further ado. If you want to get to see the lectures about this topic I've just mentioned now, you can go to my YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/Zagatech. The description of the video will be below this video, or you can write me up. And also, you can be able to join the Telegram channel where Signal comes with this chart if you understand price action, if you understand things to use in the financial market. All right, let's dive into the real deal and talk about this lecture today. All right, without further ado, let's move into the what we call trend line. So when drawing trend lines, you want to first be able to identify swing highs and swing low in the market. Now, this thing you are seeing now is a graphic representation of the market, and it will take the swing highs and the swing low. So the swing high is anything that is a substantial area of resistance, and swing low is a good area of support. Now, market is moving up, get rejected, and drops down. And it's very clear, guys. Someone can be easily to identify the swing high and the swing low. So market moves down here and gets rejected and goes up again. So it's very clear that this will be a swing low. So if we are able to identify the swing high and swing lows, it gives us more edge to move into the market system. So this will also give us an edge in order for us to draw a trend line. So to be able to identify the swing high and swing low, we'll also still move into the chart to understand it. So market gets up here, rejected, comes down, rejected again to form support, up again, rejected, that will bounce off the area, which is what the resistance, comes down again, form support. So all these things are swing highs and swing lows, swing highs and swing lows. All these things you see here are just a graphical representation of what I'm trying to explain about swing high and swing low. Now, this will help you to draw a trend line by targeting different edges of swing low or swing high when you are targeting for a buy or a sell signal, when you're trying to go short or go long. So these areas I've identified and I've shown you guys will definitely help you to draw your trend line and pick at least 2-3 points of 2-3 points of a swing high or a swing low in order to draw your trend line. All right, let's move to the second picture of the chart. This is the chart representative like where you see it on your MT4, but I'll still move into MT4 to show you and use one currency pair and show you a swing high and a swing low. All right, now this chart now is the exact example, and the graphic I showed you previously, like this one, is something like this. You see that? So this graphics here is something I drew in this one. So look at the swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing low, high, low, low, and we have high here. All right. So we can be able to identify the swing highs and the swing lows. And this is what we are going to connect in order to do what? To draw a trend line. So let's move to the next one. Now, sometimes swing high and swing low is not going to be that kind of crystal clear for you to draw a trend line. For example, this is what you see here, more like a big rejection. So if you want to draw a trend line here, maybe you cannot be able to draw a trend line, and same thing applicable to swing low here. So price not immediately rejected. So price did not reject here as it rejected this area and this area. So price begin to range on this area before it's being rejected, and also price is rejecting this area before it bounces off above this area to form another what high here, guys. So we have I think what I explained now is clear, guys. So let's dive into the actual chart and see how swing highs and swing lows behave in our actual chart. So I've explained these guys, this graphic representation. This is the actual chart of swing highs and swing low, and this is also another different pattern of swing high you can see, another different pattern of swing low you can see. All right, let's dive into the actual chart so you can be able to understand clearly about the swing high and swing low. All right, now let's move into the system. All right, this is an actual chart of this is Euro USD for our time frame. All right, as you can be able to see, guys, we have, you see, it's clearly here. We have swing high and swing low. So see the swing low, the swing high. See this high, see this low, see this low, see this high. So let me use this guy to explain this. See the high, see low, see this high again, see this small low here, see another low here. We have this. Now, excuse me. Now we have the low, we have the high. So we have every very clearly defined, clear of swing high on swing low. It's not even hard to see the actual example I've shown you guys. So if it is not easy to see, don't consider that as a swing high, and don't consider it as a swing low, and don't tend to do what? Connect it to draw a trend line. I'm just giving you guys a step before you giving you steps on what you need to see before you draw a trend line. Now, later in the next lecture, I will just show you how to draw a trend line. So, these swing highs and swing lows you see here is just where you tend to connect, to actually get a trend line, being a bullish trend line or a bearish trend line. All right, in the next lecture, we'll move into, I'll still take it step by step and make the video short so you will be able to understand what I mean by trend line. So finally, before you can draw a trend line, you need to identify the swing highs and the swing lows in the market. And you can get a trend line by going higher. For example, in a family, we have the father, the mother, and the children. So before you can be able to identify the trend line, in order to swing or intraday or scalp, you need to come to the higher time frame, and let's use daily, and identify a trend line from the daily time frame. Okay, guys, it's still loading. Sorry, guys. Identify the swing high, draw your trend line, then come down to a lower time frame, bring it down to a lower time frame. We call it order flow of a hierarchy, and we can be able to trade, draw a trend line, and trade with the trend of the trend line. All right, this is the chart. This is a Euro USD chart on H1 time frame. Now, if you want to draw a trend line, you have to take your mouse to this tool here, as you can see that. If your own is not appearing here, right click on the chart, click customize. You can drag anything you want to drag in and insert it to this tool. For example, if I want to insert this triangle here, I click here and click insert. It's going to appear here, guys. You see that? So if I want to remove it, I have to click remove. It will disappear here. So if your tools is not showing up, just right click here and click customize and insert any trending tools you want to insert: Fibonacci, triangle, expansion, etc. So if you want to draw a trend line, you come to this draw trend line, click on it. Now, as I told you guys in my former video, you need to target a swing high or a swing low. For example, let's draw a trend line of a swing. Let's draw a trend line, guys, before I move into how to draw a bullish trend line or bearish trend line. That this will be in another video, but I want to show you guys on how to do that. You pick up a swing high here and target a swing high here too. So look at these two swing high here, right? Now we have a ray. These things we call it a ray. So in order for us to adjust this long movement you see here, you have to double click on this, double tap on this. You have three nodes here. Now when you double click, right click on it, make sure your mouse in it, right click on it and click on what? Properties. Now you can be able to do what? Go to parameters and remove the ray. Click on remove the ray. You can, from here, you can also change the color, adjust the settings, and put a description. So guys, so you can even adjust the width or the thickness of the trend line, or you can also make it thin or so So if I choose this line, thick line, I can be able to select this one. But if I choose a thick one, this one is locked automatically. So I can change the color of the trend line. If I want it to be green or yellow, let me choose yellow, and I have to click that. I have unchecked this ray, which I showed you guys that this long movement here is ray. I've unchecked it, and I have to click OK. Now the whole thing has turned yellow. Now, if I want to draw a trend line, I have to pick up the node, place the trend line on the one hand, then take the last node and hover it around and get the last one here, guys. If I want to extend it, I can be able to extend it, guys. If I want to pick it down, I can be able to adjust it in any way. So when I take this node to this area, I can be able to double click and it's locked. So I cannot move this here again. So this is how you can take a tool and draw a trend line. And you can also, pull it down to any trend line. If you want to take it off this area and place it in another area, you click in the center node, hold and drag, place it anywhere I want to place it here, and take this first node again and pick up the next swing high of the market. You get it? So this is how you can use a trend line tool and draw a trend line on your chart. And you can draw a trend line on any time frame, be it 4 hours, daily, weekly, 1 hour. So and another thing also, again, if you want to use a trend line in order to get a market structure, or maybe a market structure in the sense of having a falling wedge, rising wedge, you can also use trend line for that. For example, something like this, something like this. If you have something like this, if you see something like this in the structure, I can be able to adjust it a little and get the lows of this market. Maybe take it here and also capture this one here, and I extend it to this area. So what market does now is it bounces on this zone. If you can pick this, it bounces on this zone, and what happens next? It took out this zone and come down. So this is more like a falling wedge, guys. So we have a rising wedge, falling wedge, edge, W and M patterns. This will be in another lecture altogether. So this is exactly how you can draw a trend line using the trend line tools, guys. All right, thank you and God bless you. The next lecture, I told you guys I'll be taking this thing bit by bit so it to sink in. I don't want to say have like 6 hours video or 1 hour video saying different thing. It gets boring. So when you get this, it sinks in immediately. So this is the tool you can use to draw a trend line, and you can customize this tool by let me lock this up by double clicking on this. Is locked, so it cannot be moved. Now if I want to set this up or push it out, I have to double click on the line, right click on it, and come to settings, and I'll do what? Adjust the settings. Adjust the settings and any other thing I want to adjust here. Let's dive into the chart. Now let me take it slowly, guys. A bullish trend line is a line that has to cross before the market tends to do what? Go up. Let me repeat again. A bullish trend line is the line the market tends to cross or break and move forward and continue to its upward direction. Now, the market is most likely to keep going bullish. So that means the trend line itself will be drawn on top of the price, which is on the swing high of the price and sloping downwards. So we're going to do a bullish trend line and and try and connect it with another swing high. So let's dive into the chart. Let's use the tools I explained last video to draw a trend line, a bullish trend line. Now this is the tool here, and for us to draw a bullish trend line, this is what you need to do. Pick this high. Let's pick this high here and connect it to this high here, or we can connect to this high here too. Now what happens? Markets came up to this trend line, breaks this trend line, came back to test and continued upward. You see? So that is how you can draw a bullish trend line. Or another way for you to connect that is, for example, let me go back again and connect this trend line again. You see, to draw a bullish trend line, remember I said it's going to come from up and do what? And slope downwards before you get a bullish trend line. So let's take this high here or this one here. You see, let's connect it to this what? To this high here. All right, let's take it down to this high here. You can draw it like this, take it sideways here, connect this high, and take the next node and drag it down. Take the next node, drag it down to this what? Zone here, and stretch it a little, guys. So this is what we call a bullish what? Trend line. Market tends to break this trend line and continue what? Uptrend, guys. This is how you can draw a bullish trend line. Now I've said about drawing a trend line, and secondly, you cannot draw a trend line, a bullish trend line like this, guys. Let me clarify this. You cannot draw a bullish trend line this way. You cannot draw a bullish trend line this way. You see, it's very wrong to draw a bullish trend line this way. This is what you can use to identify a chart pattern. Maybe, for example, you talk about falling wedge, rising wedge, all those things. If you want to draw a bullish trend line, you're going to touch a swing high and a swing low, and another swing high again. If you want to catch up a bullish trend line, another swing high again. I'm touching this swing high and also touching this swing high. Or you can touch this swing high here. This is a swing high. You can also touch this swing high here. You can see that? I'll also touch this swing high here. Now, this is a typical example of how you can draw a bullish trend line. So, another swing high, another swing high. The swing high progressively comes down in a low form. So if you're checking for a bullish trend line, you draw your bullish trend line on a downward market, progressively having a higher high dropping down in a market structure, in a market movement. So that is how you can draw your bullish trend line. So you can also let's draw a multiple trend line for you guys to see how trend line works. I'll pick this area and this area. Let me pick another area. I can pick this area again and this area. This is a multiple trend line, guys. This is a multiple trend line. You can, this is a fun exercise. Got draw trend line this way. You can also, let's move back and see. Let's take a look at this. This is a downward movement. You can draw a trend line. This is a fun stuff, guys. You can draw another trend line, something like this. Another trend line touches this high and this high too. This is a wrong way of drawing trend line. This is a very wrong one. You see, this is a wrong one. So now take this out. It's not a trend line. So I think I've showed you guys. These two is good. It's another way of drawing a trend line. I lock it up. Okay, I deleted the former one I drew. Okay, let's put it back. Pick up the two. You can draw your trend line. You can also pick these two again, your trend line. You can also, take these two again. This is a fun way of drawing your trend line. It's a fun way, guys. It's a fun way of picking up your trend line, guys. So, is this a correct one? Okay. I think I consider this is a higher of this one. All right. We can also take this out, take these two as a trend line. See? So this is a fun way to draw a trend line. You can also pick up another way of pick up these two, high, This is a fun way of drawing a trend line. You can identify a trend line in the market in the different pattern. This is the way you can draw your bullish trend line. You can also pick up a long movement from here to here and wait for the break, from this point, from this point, and this point, and wait for a break. And you can see this, it's just a W formation. All right, this is how you can draw your bullish trend line on an actual chart. All right, thank you guys, and God bless you. Take effects. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to people that wants to learn. Gradually we learn together. We also trade to grow together. Don't forget to join my Telegram channel, where you can get a signal that comes in with a chart straight to your phone. And you can also zoom the chart and understand and know if the market is bullish or bearish, and you can enter the trade on your own. How to draw a bearish trend line. Last video was bullish trend line. Today we're going to talk about bearish trend line and how to draw a bearish trend line. So as you can see, a bearish trend line is a line that progressively move higher. You draw it progressively to move higher in order to find a bearish movement. Remember, the last one is a bullish where you draw a line progressively downward. This one is a progressively upward, to find your swing low and the higher swing low. All right. This is a chart. So moving to draw a swing, to find a swing low and a swing low and draw our trend line in order to connect, in order to find a bearish movement. All right, let's dive in. You pick up your trend line too, and let's take a look at the trend line. Let's look for an opportunity in the market. Like, let's take a look at this high and this high. When you pick this low and pick this low, you will do what? You extrapolate it, like extend it. The market what breaks it and what continue. But in some cases, market will break it, come back for a test and do what? And continue. So this one is a valid trend line, valid what? Bullish trend line. So if this is a wrong way to draw a bullish trend line, this is a very wrong way to draw a bullish trend line. This is not a bullish trend line. This is just for a price pattern, a pattern. Maybe you have a falling wage, rising wage, and etc. about price pattern. So this is a wrong way of drawing trend line. Let me delete this. This is the right way of drawing what? A bearish trend line, a short trend line. That is, to go short, you draw this trend line this way. All right, let's look for another opportunity again. Like the market is moving this way, we can draw something like this and catch up with this. You see, this is also another pattern. For looking for what? A bearish trend, a bearish movement. You can also pick up these two. And extrapolate it too. You see, and extrapolate this line. So we cut this. Sorry guys, we cut this low here, this low, and this low, and extrapolate it too. All right, let's look for other opportunities, guys. So if we are expecting a bearish movement, the line will be broken, but not only a trend line. So I'm just teaching you guys how to draw a bearish trend line. All right, let's look for another opportunity in the market too. All right, let's take a look at this. See this? Pick up the trend line to draw it out. We pick the trend movement, and the market broke it, went back, and continued the downward movement. All right, this is another example. You see, this is another example. You can still add this up again from here to this one too. You see that? Sorry, this did not. Okay. You see this one and this swing low, and also this swing low. We have a swing low. Then draw a trend line, extrapolate it, and let's look for another opportunity here. Take a look at this and this here too. Extrapolate it too. You see, this is another trend line. 1, 2. You just target this because the market is moving. I will still talk about another in the next lecture. I'll talk about this space in the trend line. This space here, this space we have in the trend line is to be in another lecture. So this is a typical way for you to draw your bearish trend line. See, take a look at this. Capture this and capture this too. Another way of drawing a bearish trend line. You can also capture these two and also capture this too. You see, so this low and this low here, progressively moving upwards. That's a swing low and a swing low and a higher swing low. So don't misunderstand my statement, though, because you are looking for a bearish trend line. Now, let's keep looking for looking for another opportunities. This is also another opportunity. From here, you can pick up this low here, extrapolate it. We have a break and have a test and continuation movement. So if we enter here, it may take you out, depending. Another opportunity. We have so many opportunities of going short here. So you draw your trend line, bearish trend line in this pattern. You see, I think I drew a lot of trend line here, but don't get your charts dated this way. So be careful and watch how you draw a trend line. For example, this one here now, you can pick up this, and I can also pick up something like this. Sometimes you draw trend line this way. Some people draw trend line this way. Market progressively goes high, retest, goes high. If you break this here, it comes to this one. If you break this one, it comes to this one, and something like that, or to this market zone. This is a zone. All right, this is how you can draw your bearish trend line in the market. This is GBP USD, pounds US dollar. You can also draw that on a different currency pairs, and from a higher time frame progressively downward to a lower time frame, so you can be able to capture an opportunity and enter your trade. All right, this is exactly how you can draw a trend line, bearish trend line. When you talk about trend line gaps, is the gap that the market makes when trending upward or when trending downwards, guys. All right. With no further ado, let me take it quite slowly. Last lecture, we talked about, I told you about how to draw a bearish trend line. We covered swing high, swing low, and so many other ones. Then we got to a point of, bullish trend line and a bearish trend line. So in my bearish trend line video, I think I mentioned, trend line gap. I will do that in the next video, which is this one I'm doing right now. All right. The trend line gap is a gap that markets progressively make when a market is bullish or bearish form, right? Now, now, you want to see that the market gaps away from each prices, like I said earlier before. So the first one you need to know. All right, guys. To see about these trend line gaps, there's something I have explained before that about the space in the market. Now let us identify this in this chart so I can be able to explain clearly for you to see what I'm trying to talk about, a gap a gap in the trend line. Now, if you're looking for a gap in the trend line to enter a position, take a look at this, guys. Let's say I'm going bullish, right? Let's say I'm going bullish, right? Now, I'll draw a trend line from here, from this line, right, to this line here, and extrapolate it. You see that? Now, take a look. This is a small gap, and this is also a small gap, and this is a very big gap, right? This is a big gap in the market. Now, you wouldn't want to enter a trade when you have it something like this, guys. You wouldn't want to enter it when you have something like this. Now, you need to enter. You need to go short. This is a bearish what? Bearish. We are looking for a bearish movement. Now, if you want to enter, this is the opposite of what I'm trying to show you. Let me show you the present of what. Let's take a look at this one and this one. All right, I connected this and this, right? Now, this is a smaller gap and this is a very big gap, right? Now, this market has stretched out to a very big form and come back to a trend line, pull, bounce off again, and have a very small space here and a big space here. So we have at least 70 or 80% chance to enter this trade because we have market tend to cover up what a very big space along this area. You understand? So this gap in the market, when you're drawing your trend line, you need to do what? Look out for such gap in the market. So you wouldn't want to enter, I repeat, you wouldn't want to enter a trade where you have such something like this, a very big gap, because market tends to do what? Continue the movement. And most of the times we call this what? A fake out or retest and continuation of the movement. So when you see a market that has this kind of gap here, small gap here, small gap, big gap, don't is 30 or 20% chance the market is going to drop, and it dropped a little and what pulled and continue the uptrend. Now take a look at this again. If you want to draw a trend line, take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. If you want to catch up with this, all right, take a look at this. You see this small space and you see this big space here, guys. You see a small space here. See this small space. I connected this to this. So I want to show you guys this. I connected this to this and this. You see this small space, see this big space here. Now what happened? Market did not come down. It came down for the test and did what? And continued the upward movement because of this small space. Assuming you have a smaller space like this over here, or the way we have a small space over here, we have the tendency at least for going short, at least guys, at least 50 to 60 pips, or 40 pips. See? So, and even continuing of downward trend. Do you see that? This is how you can identify a gap, what I call trend line gap in the market. So when drawing your trend line, you need to watch out for this gap. You don't just draw a trend line and say it has broken, let me enter a trade. No, identify something in that trend line before you push in for a trade. All right? So this is what we call trend line gap. All right, let us move into the chart and see a lot of these, guys. Let us move into and see a lot of it. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. You see? All right. This is a trend line from here to here. But before we draw from here to here, we need to take from here to what? To here. You know, also from here to here, we also need to draw from here. Is it a trend line? Yes, it's kind of a trend line. Cool. Yeah. So identify a space in the market, a big space, a smaller space, drop down continuation before it drops. You see, the smaller space came in before it market drops. You can also identify this as a trend line. See another smaller trend line inside the market. So see this move, here. You see a smaller space, market broke this area and dropped drastically to this zone. So you can be able to identify trend line opportunities in the market and and take advantage of it. Right? So this is how we can draw a bearish trend line and having a gap in it. That is what we call trend line gap. Right? Okay. Now let all right now to take a look. Let me clear this chart. Let me clear this so you can be able to identify. I've shown you guys the bearish trend line gap. Let's look for bullish trend line gap. All right, let's take it from here and let's take it from here to this one here, guys. Let's take it from here to this one. You see a very big gap, you see a smaller gap, so we have a tendency of going high, going long. You see a big gap comes with a smaller gap. So when you're drawing a trend line, even if it's bearish or bullish, look out for a big gap and a smaller gap. You have some percentage of you have high probability of for that trend to continue towards that opposite direction. Right? Now what you have, okay, let's take a look at this again. Let me leave this. Let's take a look at this big trend line. Let's take a look at this and take it downwards. Right? Now take a look. We have this. So all these things are big gap. What happens? Market just took it out and continued with this downward trend because this did not do play out well. So what I mean, you look out for a big and a smaller. Now let us adjust this trend line for you to see what I'm trying to talk about. Now let's adjust this from here and let's adjust this from this trend line here, guys. So we have a big gap, we have a smaller gap. You can close this, we can pick a trade and do and close up at least 20, close up at least we have 20 pips or so. You don't stay long in the market. Now let's take a look at another bullish trend line. Let's take a look at this. Okay, let's have this and this. So this doesn't play well. A smaller gap and a big gap, and the markets pull up 20 some few pips and we did downward trend. Did you see that, guys? And continue downward. So this one didn't play out well. We have at least 30 to 40% probability of the market continue. So let's take a look. Let's adjust this trend line again. These two here, and let's connect this and this. You see, a big gap and a big gap. Market didn't play out well. It broke the uptrend and you enter a trade. If you enter a trade, you can be able to understand another thing in this trend line. What I'm saying is not may be what you may not see, or what you are saying may not be what I will see. So you can decide to pick up some small pips from here and get out of the market and look for another opportunity, because every single day we have plenty of opportunities in the market in different currency pairs, right? All right, this is a typical example how you can draw your trend line gap. Trend line gap. I've talked about how to draw a bullish trend line, bearish trend line. This one is trend line gap, what you need to see. So the strategy here is when you draw a trend line, look out for a big gap, then a smaller one follows it. You can now go short. A big gap, a smaller one follows it. You can now go long. All right. So that is that about that. So this one didn't play well. Draw a trend line, touch it up, a smaller, a bigger one. It didn't play out well. It continued the upward trend. So from here, I connected to this one too. So it didn't play out well. See, it didn't play out well. A bullish, a bearish trend line. It didn't play out well. All right, let's look for another bearish one. Do we have any other bearish trend line? Okay, if you pick from here to here, this will never play out well. See, a very big space. It didn't play out well. Now let's take a look at this and see if this one plays well. Sorry about that. let me take a look at this and this, all right, see, this and this one played, this one and this one too are this. Let me clear this. So this, a big gap, a smaller one, it played out well and it continued uptrend. You can also use that as a reverse market structure, right? When you have a break in market structure, a breaker block, other block, and the other things that this is someone's strategy and it's working well, and many people are using it as it traded. So, all right, this is it about trend line gap in financial market forex trading. All right, you can also use that in what, in currency trading. If you are using Binance, if you're trading Binance, if you're using Bybit and all the other crypto trading platform, this strategy also works. Literally, it literally works there, right? All right, so thank you. Now, trend lines attract the market, so they can be used as a what, as a great target. Now, if you have an opportunity in the market to draw a trend line and market moves away from the trend line, we can oftentimes trade back towards that trend line. So let me show you example of markets, that the market that is moving up, right? Let's take a look. Now let's pick up this low and this low. See, I'm going to extrapolate it. Now what happens now, the market takes off and moves away. Now from here to here we have some divergence here, so we have opportunity to go short. Now we can able to draw a trend line like this too, you see. Now the main thing now that a market that moves down can also get back towards that trend line. You so it's a great way to have a target, of that trend line. The market can tend to do what, move back in that direction, guys. So hope you guys understood what I'm trying to explain. So market trend line as a target, we have a market touch here, moves out, come back and moves out again, begin to range and pull off. We have a divergence here. Now we have a tendency that market will definitely come back to this trend line as a target, but you have a opportunity of going short. When you identify the market structure or identify something in the market, with a divergence, you are expecting a market to go short. So your target may be what, this trend line, right? Now this is also another way. Now the market breaks out the trend line. We also have a target that, remember, we have this what, a big space here. I have a big space here, I have a smaller space here. In my former lecture, I talk about trend line gap, right? Since we have a big space here, let me remove this first, guys. Since we have a big space here and the market break out this, we have a high tendency the market to do what? Come back to that trend line. So when it breaks this, we wait for rejection. Is when you get a rejection, market is definitely going to come back to that trend line as a target. This is how you can use a trend line as a target, right? Okay, now let's continue. All right, this is a what? A bearish trend line, right? A bearish trend line. Let's take a look. Let's look for another opportunity of a bullish trend line. All right, now let's draw this from here to this spot, or from here to this spot, guys. Now a trend line as a target. Now we have a big space. The market tends to have this smaller movement. Let me start from here, guys. Now smaller movement, guys. Now a big space and a smaller space here. Now if we enter the trade from here, we can use this trend line as a target, guys. We can use this trend line as a target. Then when you use trend line as a target, this should be a fundamental movement, I guess. This should be this candle here may be a fundamental movement, or this here, this gap here is a void here, or this big void here. It's not actually a void because it has been covered. So now when you have this, you can actually use this as a what? As a target. Look at this big movement, look at this small movement. Then when a market rejects in this zone, you can use this trend line here as what? As a target. So if you enter a trade at this zone, you can target this trend line as your take profit, right? This is a bullish what? Movement, using a trend line as a target in the market, right? So I've shown you guys example of what? A bearish movement and this is example of what a bullish movement. Remember, I repeat, remember again that if you're drawing a trend line, the first thing you need to have in mind to identify the space in the market. When you target your swing high and swing high, or swing low and swing low, or higher swing low and higher swing low, or swing high and a lower swing low, then you identify the structure, the space in the trend line, so you can be able to do what? Understand. For example, this is a valid one, a big space and a smaller space. I said it in my former lecture, a trend line gap. Now, a smaller space and a big space, it didn't work out well, but market tends to push this down. When you have this divergence of bullish trade, market tends to do what? Come back this trend line and retest, right? Now, let's take a look at these two. This two here. Okay, let's take a look at these two here, guys. This line, don't mind me because I'm just doing this as a lecture purpose. So this big space and this big space, what happened? Markets touched it, move out, rejected. We are expecting a what? A retest to touch on this trend line. So if we have this rejection here, we can go short, and put our take profit on this trend line, because market tends to do what? Touch this trend line, right? And since we have a big space, when it hits here, don't stay long in the trade and what? Get out and wait for what? Continuation, because I have a very big space here. Now let's drag this out again and have this one here too. You see what happens here? A big space and a big space. What happened? We have a big space and market did not get to this trend line. Since we have a rejection here now, we have a tight stop loss here, we have a sell. If you go short here and target this trend line before movement, what happens? Market did what? Market hit our stop loss and move out. This trade did not what? Play well, right? Did not play well. So this is more like using a trend line as a target. On a normal lecture, we can even draw something like this. A market will move upward, bounces off again. Trend line attracts markets, move upward again. So what we'll be expecting here now is more like a bounce off, bounce off like this area and do what? Continue movement. You see? Now what happened? Market did not respect this bounces off again, because it has done this and have a very big space here, and market did what? Push over. All right. In a normal sense, this may be what we will expect in the market now, and it will take us out. Let me clear this and do this again. Let's take a look at this and this one here. Now what happens? Markets pulls up, touch this trend line, pulls up again, and keep rejecting and break this trend line. So we have a small space, we have a big space. It's a high probability of what? Or for us what? Going what? Short, right? A big space and a small space, right? All right, thank you. All right, let's continue again. This is a bearish trend line, and I also show you guys a bullish trend line by using this kind of stuff here. See? So a market touched, came back again, rejected this area, coming up to upward. You can enter a trade and target this trend line as a take profit, which you maybe at least few pips. When you pick out this rejection and maybe you enter on this candle, this can give you 30 to 34 pips, and you are out of the market because you use this trend line as a target. Sometimes it didn't play well, as I showed you here. Like this one did not play. This one I showed you here did not play well, right? So that's it, guys. So let me conclude this. As you can see, this is for market to go short. I can be able to place my take profit using a trend line. For example, from here to here, and have a trend line. I can be able to use my from here to here. I can be able to use my trend line as a target. Literally place it an ideal target. You know what I mean by ideal target? For a trade to come and bounce up and take profit, guys. So that is it about that. All right, this is a typical example of a trend line as a target. All right, trend line as an exit is more like a trend movement where you keep your trade open, and when the market or a candle pattern tends to cross that trend line, you do what? You exit the trade. So this gives you an edge, an opportunity for you to keep your trade open and take at least a longer peep, right? Now, a trend line as an exit. Let's move in and let me show you example of trend line as an exit, right? Now, for example, let's say we want to go long, right? We have this trend line here, we draw it downwards, right? Now, this is a bullish trend line, right? Now we went short, we went long, then the market is going upward trend, right? Now, if you want to go short, right, let me now show you what I'm trying to say about trend line as an exit. I draw a trend line. Let me pick this low here and pick this one here and take it upward, right? Now, let me clear this. We have entered a buy signal. We have entered a long, we have entered a trade to go long, right? Now, since we have entered a trade to go long, we can keep our trade open, right? We enter a trade, it bounces off. The candle did not close below this line. We leave it open. The market keep on what moving. Comes out, it didn't break this line. So as soon as the market comes down to close below this trend line, we'll take that as an exit. We close the trade and say the market is tending to do what? To reverse. That is what I mean by what? Trend line as what? As an exit. All right, now let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Now this is a trend line above. We have this here again, and we draw this downward here, right? Now let's assume we have this, and we got a signal here. All right, let's take a look. We have a signal, a sell signal here. You see, we have a move bullish and the market breaks in structure. We have a big gap, we have a small gap. Market comes down. We entered short here. We can keep our trade open as the market did not what close above this trend line. Now we keep the market. We can have a longer pips, a longer movement in the market. You entered here, market a longer movement in the market to this area here, almost 173 pips. Now what happens when you have a break in this trend line and close above? We take this. You take this as what? As an exit in the market structure. You take it as what? Trend line exit. You exit the trade totally. You leave the market totally. You close your trade totally. This is exactly what I mean by what? Trend line as an exit in the market, right? Now, this is for what? A bullish, a downward trend. You got a signal of going short using a bearish trend line. You entered short, and the market keep on moving, and we have this high. We have this high here. You draw your trend line and what? Extrapolate it. Then what happens? The market came to this trend and rejected, and you keep going down. Now, when we have when we have a retest here, the market did not close. The candle did not close above this trend line. It came back again. Then when we have a close above this trend line, what happens? Market did what? You need to exit what? The trade. That is what I call trend line as an exit. All right, let's take a look at bullish. I've showed you guys bullish before, which is this one. The current market movement, like here, a bullish movement. I've showed you guys before. Let's take a look at one example before I close up this trade. All right, now let's take a look at from here and this trend line. I'm just taking these two movements, this and this, right? Now we have this. We have as you draw your trend line, markets. Let's take a look at. Let's see if we can go long here. Markets broke out the smaller and the bigger movements. Well, the markets broke out this, retested and continue. So if we enter a trade at this zone, or if we have a signal here and enter a trade in a different strategy, and market tends to move up. Oh, sorry about that, guys. No, I use this and this, guys. So we have an entry. We enter this trade. Market continue moving. Now the market tend towards the candle closes above this trend line here. We exit the trade because we have entered a trade from here, and the markets keep on moving upward, uptrend. We are looking for a short, like I'm saying. So you can exit here and go short, or you can exit here and wait for what? Continuation. This two trend line trading is more like a system of trading. Some people usually use this kind of system to trade, just normal a system of trading. Pure price movement, trend line trading. All right, let me show you guys what I mean by two trend line trading, guys. Let's dive into the actual chart and see what I mean by trend line trading. Let me explain what I mean by trend line trading. The trend line trading is a trading where you have a major trend line and a minor trend line, a major movement and a minor movement, a major road and a minor road. So you understand the explanation between major and minor. All right, let me show you guys what I mean by that. without going more. All right, now let's take a look now let's take this low here and take this low here, a swing here and a swing here. Let me take this and extrapolate it, guys. Now we have this, we'll call this a major. Now let's take a look at minor. May we take this one here and take this one here too. Now you see, this is a minor and this is a major one. So what do we do? If a market tends to break this trend line here and retest, we will now enter a trade and ride it down towards this trend line. And if you're getting to this trend line, we have a major market zone at this area. You see, we have a major market zone at this area. See that this is a zone where market tend to touch and reject, touch and reject, touch and reject. So if a market break this trend line, maybe touch this trend line and close below this trend line and do a retest, we have a market movement that will come towards this go short and enter this trend line, this major trend line here. All right, let's take a look at another one. If you're pushing long, right? Now let's take a look at this. It's a cool system, guys. It's a cool system. Let's take a look at this and this. Does it work? All right. Let's see if it works. The major, we have this one here. We also have this. Is this a swing high? All right. So markets breaks this. We have this. We use this as a target. So this doesn't play out clean, and it didn't play out clearly. All right, we have this structure. This opportunity comes into the market anytime, anywhere you see it, right? It comes into the market anytime, any place. All right. Sorry, guys, I shrink this chart so I can be able to see a structure. So we have a bullish, we have market downward, we have a bullish movement again. All right, let me see that. So let's take a look at this movement too. Let's take a look at this to this and extrapolate it. We can call this major trend line, right? We can also call this major trend line too. So what did I do? I touched this swing low and the swing low here and higher swing low here. You see, swing low, you also swing low, also swing low. Then what happens? Markets came here, pull back. Now let's talk. These are the major major swing trend line. Now let's draw a minor trend line. We have this. We may have this. Remember, a small gap, a big gap, not quite cool. We also have this too. We also have this. So let me take this as a swing low. Let me clear this, guys. Sorry. Sorry for that delay, guys. Now we call this a major one. This is also a major one too. Now we have this small minor one here, this small minor trend line here. Now what happened? I touched this swing low and the swing low here. What happened? Market breaks this. What am I expecting? If I go short, my target is this trend line, this major trend line. And you can see the market played out clean and clear on this trend line. Now the market broke this trend line again. My target is what should be this major trend line. Let's draw another trend line here again. Take a look at this trend line here. Okay, I think I didn't see the chart very well. All right, let's take a look at this trend line here and see what happens. This one and this one here. Then let us extrapolate it and see what happens. Let us extend it and see what happens. I think I got it right? Okay, I need to pull it down a little. Let me shrink it and pull it down a little. Sorry about that. But yeah. Now this is another trend line. So these are major one, major. You can still have another major here too. So the markets broke this tiny trend line. This was a target. It broke this one again. This was a target. It broke this one again. This becomes a target. Then if you want to get the target here too as a trend line, I think this will play out too. This one here and this one here, right? Okay. So these are the major trend line you can target as your entry, right? So I've just show you guys example of this one here too. as a trend line, two trend line trading. We call it a trading system, two trend line trading, the major and the minor. So you can be able to identify the major one, having a long pull space, and begin to identify the minor one. So this is the current market now, right? This is the current market. And if I can want to draw a trend line now, I can be able to pick these two low here, this target here, and this 3-1. So you see, I collected these three movement here, right? And I extrapolated it, right? See, one, swing low, swing low, swing low. You see? So I connected these three up movements. Now I'm beginning to what? Find a valid movement here. I'm beginning to find a valid breakout or a valid test. So if this continue moving, and candle closes below this trend line, we still have another trend line here. If you want to draw a trend line, swing low and swing low here, you see. So you can, when the market breaks out this swing low here, this trend line here, and closes below, we may target this zone, this trend line here. So that is it about two trend line trading, the major and the minor. Okay, that's that about that. It's a trading system. You can see some opportunities in different currency pairs. If you're trading different currency pairs, this is a H4, a H1 time frame. You can switch to H4, and you can also get the same movements, right? All right, guys. This is Agadek FX. Thank you for listening to this lecture. And if you find it useful, if you find it cool, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video to your loved ones. Share this video to your loved ones. Like, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to join my Telegram group for signal that comes in with screenshots when they have a reversal or retracement in the market. The signal comes in, and as a screenshot like this, signal like this that comes in, that this screenshot that comes into the channel, and you can be able to take a look at it. If you're using tab or iPhone mobile tab or mini laptop, you can be able to see those things clearly on your chart, and you can place trade anywhere you are. If you're in the office or any place, you can be able to place trade with the signals. All right. Thank you, and God bless you. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video. Bye for now.